Hello, welcome back to a new video on Laurel and Hardy and Chaplin collectibles. In this video I've been going through a load of my original cigarette cards from the times from the 1930s. They're a lot from their prime, so it was in the peak of their comedy powers and when they were very much active. So for example, you have this one, which is a portrait shot, which is famous film stars, which is out of character, a portrait shot there from the 1930s. So this is a cigarette card, which is a number 33 of 50 cards. So really nice shot there. And they're normally quite small, so at the times they were inside the cigarette packet, so when as a customer from the times that they would buy cigarettes and they would have one of these inside the card, not always necessarily Laurel and Hardy, it could be any other film star, and you would then collect the whole set from that particular set of cards, and then you send off for the book or the folder or whatever, and then you'd put them in, which was quite a fun thing and an innocent thing of the times. But what's more interesting and more important as a Laurel and Hardy collector are the Laurel and Hardy cigarette cards with their image on, and that's an example of a card from the 1930s. And then you have these two, which are slightly larger cigarette cards. But you have this one, which is Blockheads, which is 1938, and then you have Our Relations, which is 1936. So that's an example of two larger cards, really nice shots. And then back to smaller ones again, you have their co-star Thelma Todd, who was a great actress in many of the Laurel and Hardy shorts and features, and then you have a portrait shot here, which is actually 1935, and then the one underneath, which is Babes in Toyland, or March of the Wooden Soldiers is the alternative name, which is 1935 also, cigarette card. But that's from the 1934 film, so obviously a year later. So really nice cigarette cards there. And then you have another one, again, Thelma Todd co-star. Really nice shot. And then you have this one, which is more of a, it's like a rugby ball shaped one, but really unusual cigarette card, and it's 1934. The photo looks like, I'm not totally sure, but it looks like it could be from Busybodies, which is 1933, I think. But it could make sense as the card is actually 1934. But that's Film Stars series of cards. So a really nice card, that one. It's an unusual one. I mean, some cards are quite common, others are rarer than others. I only have a select few. I know there's a lot more in other countries as well that were produced and made during their time. So yeah, from my experience, I always find them quite difficult to get hold of, but it's nice to have the select few that I already have. This is one of my favourites. I'm not sure if it's in any particular film, but it looks like it's on the How Roach lot, and Stan there, he's with a large dog, and Ollie's with a very small dog, and then normally on the back it would tell you the background of their career, or their career up to that point. But this is Will cigarette cards, I think. I'm just referring to my notes. Yeah, so this is actually Will cigarette cards, and if I can read some of it on the back, but it actually says here, which I thought was quite interesting. It says here, it is 4 years since Laurel and Hardy comedy team was formed. So basically, this is 4 years. So they partnered in 1927 as proper comedy team. So this is like 4 years later. This card. So this is quite unusual and slightly different. And if I could just try and read a bit more, it's got and although both actors were playing in pictures, I do apologise, a cat's putting me off. It's got here that in pictures before that, so when they performed before 1927 and earlier, it's just saying briefly that they struggled as actors before, but of course when they partnered then they became very successful. And it mentions about Charlie Chaplin, that Stan Laurel worked with Chaplin, and then a little bit more there about Ollie. The print is so small, it's so tiny I can barely read it, but it's a really nice card. It actually says that this is actually 4 years later, so it's a nice little addition. And it's always good to have things that's in their prime, almost like pre-death items, if you like, that was things that were available during their lifetime. There was this card that was actually from a previous video I showed, and this is for your future wife, your future children. It's an unusual card. This is an American card, and this is by Exhibit Supplies company in the USA, 1935. And there is also another one, again with Stan Laurel. This one is him dressed up in drag, where he's dressed up as a small person. And there's also Ollie in the same shot, but this has been cut out. But it is actually a deleted scene from their Purple Moment, which was 1928, which is a great shame, because the scene that was cut, it actually looks really funny, and it looks really good. But as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's any available print of it, apart from the photographs. But as far as I know, I think it's when they're trying to escape or hide from their wives, so they pretend to be small people and they're dressed up in drag. And obviously they cut this shot out of Stan, which is really unusual. But there is another card like this with, again with Stan, your future husband, which I have seen. And it's got Stan with his hair combed over, and he's wearing spectacles as the husband. So they're just kind of weird, bizarre cards at the times. And then with your children, which is it's kind of strange card, but although just the way it is, it makes it all the more interesting and sought after for the times. And then, for example, with the cigarette cards, this is an original, like I was saying earlier, that you'd send off for the book. This is like an example of one of the books. So this is like the full book of Laurel and Hardy card, which is in here again, which is a 1935 card, or this whole set would be 1935. So there it is, Babes in Toyland from the 1934 film, and then a whole load of other stars that you collect of the times. And this book is a cigarette company, which is if I can read that, Gallagher Limited, Virginia House, London, Belfast, just on the back there. But it's nice to have the whole book with all the cards on the inside. And then you have other examples with full sets, which are like this one here. And again, you've got on the top there, and Laurel and Hardy portrait shot at the bottom there, which again, as far as I know, is 1935 also. And then you have a whole load of other film stars that you collect over time. And then the same also for this one, but for this one is a little bit different. You've got Laurel and Hardy again, which is Bonnie Scotland, and this is 1936. This card from the 1935 film Bonnie Scotland. I really love this card with the colour shot of Laurel and Hardy dressed up in military gear. Really, really great shot, that one. Love that. And I'm pretty sure it was one of these other cards I had. Yeah, it was this one. I just wanted to show this one again, because on the back, some of these cards, how they can be inaccurate. It's got Stan was born in 1895. Well, it was actually, as we know, it was 1890. So it's quite interesting how they can get things slightly inaccurate with the dates. So it's a shame someone of the times would have had that and thought, oh right, that's when he was born, when actually was inaccurate. But there you go. That's what makes it more sought after and more interesting to have. And then the last are these two, which I have, which are chocolate cards, which are Amaleta, I think they're called, Amatella chocolate cards from Spain. I wanted to find a little bit more information out. I think I shared these on a previous video, but I didn't know all the information. But they're actually 1930s, so they're really, really cool little figure chocolate cards. I absolutely love these little cardboard cards. And it does make me wonder at the times if Laurel and Hardy were to ever see these, and what they must think of, or what they would have thought of these cards. The same as the cigarette cards or postcards that were out during their prime. I always wonder what they were thinking when they to see all these items that were out on them then. And it also makes me wonder what they must think of all the memorabilia that's out on them now. It's absolutely incredible, the vast collectible items that you can get on them, that came out on them and still does come out on them after their passing many years later. It's absolutely incredible and a great achievement on their part. And I think they would probably just be absolutely thrilled and shocked to know that there's that much memorabilia on them. So it's a great achievement. And so yeah, so that's everything for this video, and just a little just a bit of history there on cigarette cards. Just show that one again. That's my favourite black and white one. Really great shot, that one. But yeah, so that's it for this one on cigarette cards, and I hope to do more soon. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks very much. Bye.